Here it comes. Oh, my baby boy. Oh, let me see you. Let me see you. Oh, there he is. A new launcher is born. Hi everybody, welcome back for another video. It's not often that new launchers are born. I mean built from the ground up, new design, everything new. Obviously there's a learning curve involved every time you design something from scratch, and there's some trial and error, and I want to talk about two launchers today. I think they're both innovative. They both have a place in our less lethal defense. And they're new launchers. These are not derivative. These are the kind of things that I like. I've talked before about the one thing that I dislike about launchers is the fact that they tend to be derivative and copycats. Well, that's not the two that I'm talking about today. The first is the Pistelle X-68. That's a launcher that is going for power, and it has been designed as a brand new device. It is not like nothing that you've seen before, and people love it. And the only issue that I've heard are issues with O-rings, and that's been pretty much solved by Modern Combat Sports. I think they addressed the needs of the consumer. They come out with a Gen 2, they provide you the O-rings that you need, and of course you could do the aftermarket research, and a number of people have done that. This launcher is attractive in several respects, and certainly the one thing that everybody wants is power, and I'm one of those that says, well, do you really need a 50 joule launcher? Is that really what you need? Well, I'm going to put that aside for this discussion. If that's what you want and that's what you need, and you can figure out how to carry a 50 joule launcher that's a fairly large size footprint, then do that. There's nothing wrong with doing that. It's certainly something that if you use the kinetic force there, if you're going against somebody in winter and you can conceal it, and you need that to fight against someone that has on a big puffy jacket, it gives you that extra advantage to punch through layers and get to where you can create pain for a person. So that's a good thing. That's one reason why you might want power. But in the summertime, maybe it's a little hard to carry, it's a little big, and you have those issues. The other thing is about the Pistell that I wonder about is everybody likes the fact that you can activate it like with one hand. You can punch it, and it has a puncture pin and this kind of thing. Everybody likes this kind of thing, but the reality is your holster is going to protect your trigger, but that part of the device is always going to be exposed. In the best holster, it's going to be exposed. If it's in any type of belly band or in a bag, that kind of thing can get triggered. And so it's never just a one-handed step. You need something to protect that punch button from being activated. You don't want to lose air. You don't want to accidentally have that activated when you don't want it to be, and then you find that the launcher is has run out of air, has leaked out, or that even worse, that you have some misfire that happens because the trigger got engaged in a bag, for example. So those are things that you want to avoid. So the next launcher is the Grimburg Gavle Carry, and it is built upon the Grimburg Gavel. And so the gavel went through a few iterations of improvements and creating a new O-ring that is going to be probably the best in class. And doing all of that homework, responding to customers, and building what I think is going to be the ultimate carry weapon. The Grimberg gavel, it has that small size. This is what I've been preaching about, and Grimberg has been listening, and they have come up with this, and I could not be happier with this design. It's got the compact carryability. It's going to be easy to carry on body and conceal. There's just no doubt about that. And it has, the only limitation you might say as well, it's still limited to 5 shots, and it's not reloadable, and it requires a twist to pierce. Now you could say, well, those are things that I don't like, but I actually like the twist to pierce. I like the fact that when you see a threat, you have that second or two to activate it. So I sort of like that little window of opportunity to think about what you're doing before you even start. The other thing is the gavel, it's very minimalist looking. I love the fact that the size is somewhere between a Glock 19 and a Glock 26. It has that look, the feel, and I think it can be carried on body. And so it's like night and day between the Pistelle and the Grimberg Gavle, but I like to think of them in the same category as innovative new launchers catering to power. They both, I think, have power. Obviously the Pistelle has more power, and with longer barrels in each, you can get more power. So you can bump that up. To me, it doesn't really matter about numbers. You know, I'm not going to quibble over if the Pistelle is running a 45 joules or 50 or 55 joules. Same thing for the gavel, if it's 30, 40, whatever. I think it's more about the functionality and the ability to carry them and the reliability. And I think that both of these models have now addressed reliability. They both have upgraded O-rings. They both have invested into that. People wanted it, and they provided it, and that's really exceptional. Grimberg is catering to a different market. Grimberg is going for that small EDC carry market, and I think that's where it's at. I honestly believe that that's what we want for more of our launchers, but there is a place for big, powerful launchers that are bulky, but they can be very helpful at home. You put in a nice long barrel in the Pistelle, and you've got a worthy weapon for in and around the home in certain situations, as long as it does not, it's not against a lethal threat. I think those are things where you really have to decide what you're going to use those for, because the threat has to be very severe in order to pull a 50 joule launcher. Whereas the gavel, that seems like it's right at the sweet spot to me, somewhere in the 30-ish range. It's more powerful than Salt Supply S2, more powerful than the Byrna LE, smaller. That just seems just right to me. So both of these are options that have been developed, like I said, from the ground up. And that's really important. That's really impressive. And it's not easy to do. Like having that baby at the beginning, it is a labor of love to generate one of these. And everybody that adopts one of these and takes it home, it is like a baby. You have to take care of it, and you still have to lube them. And I'm not a believer that a launcher needs to be lubed every single time you use it, but there's certainly if you're doing a lot of plinking and practicing, that's a very good standard operating procedure. But your launcher needs to have a reliable enough set of O-rings that a little bit of lubing will carry you for an extended period of time until when you might need to use it or when you want to service it or lube it again. So any launcher should not have to be serviced before every shooting session or after every shooting session. And I think both of these are durable enough and able to handle that. That's not going to be the case. That is something you have to worry about when you start talking about higher power launchers. Once you start getting out of that 15 to 20-ish joule range, the demands on the O-rings are greater. The CO2, the amount of CO2 that gets released, and the chance of liquid CO2 getting into the launcher and also affecting your O-rings is greater. So you need really high quality O-rings that are durable and last. And Grimberg has this big, beautiful Carolina blue O-ring that I really love that they've designed. And I think that is the way to go. Make your own O-rings and make them to build to the tolerances that you want or that your customers need. So overall, I told you that I was going to start talking about specific launchers, and I talked about one recently, and here's two more. I really want to try to talk about pros and cons, and I've told you a little bit about these two launchers, but I want to hear from you. You tell me what you think about these two launchers. It's not really an either or. It's not apples and apples between these two. They both have different niches. I actually like the concept of both, and I could see myself using either one in different situations. So let me know how you use your Pistelle or how you will use your Grimburg Gavle. I know there's a lot of Grimburg Gavle users out there already, but the Gavle Carry, that one really is unique. It stands out among all the launchers out there that I've seen. So let me hear from you. Everybody take care, be safe. See you next time.